on Google Hangouts. Welcome to the Tailgate Zone again. I'm Michelle, your host. We have our host Mark, our host Tim, our host Terry is in Cuba. So I hope he's having a good time out there. And if you're watching this, Terry, hello, hello, and come back with some good news and some cigars for Tim and Mark. So we're going to start today. We have some important things to talk about, but before we do that, our host Mark is going to give an update on Tim, because Tim right now is very, very sad. His Raiders did not show up like he thought they were going to show up, and he is on a boycott right now. That's why you can't see his face. We haven't heard from him since they lost. So he is very, very sad and upset, and he'll explain that in a little while. But until then, take it away, Mark.
Well, all I'm saying, Tim, is that seriously, it's the Raiders. You cannot hinge yourself on doing boycotts or food strikes. If you did a food strike till the Raiders won, you would turn to dust. You know what I'm saying? If you refuse to shave until the Raiders won, you would look like Cousin Hit by the time they won. You understand? It is what it is. What you should do is, never mind, I can't even with you. You're a Raider fan. What you should do is just lay low, watch the games when you can, and when they win, pump your fist and say, okay, they got one. That's it.
Wait, Mark, so do you feel that he's really exaggerating this whole thing? I mean, he said that he's going to be, until the Raiders win, he is boycotting pretty much social media, which I don't blame him, because we really clowned. He missed it, but, you know, when he looks and he sees what happened for him, and especially it's worse that he didn't show up, oh my gosh. So people are waiting on him now. So he could be 5 games from now. If he shows up, he's going to get clowned. So, Mark,
if he shows up, I'm going to ignore him. I'm not even going to pay any attention to him. Because, I mean, to be honest with you, the funny thing in the world is that I love talking football, and again, I don't hate the Raiders. I understand what's going on. They are, this is the continued residual effect of how Al Davis, the former owner, may he rest in peace, just before he died, many years before he died, he just went crazy and just completely made this franchise dysfunctional. And he set it back for many years. Now, the funny thing to me is that Raider fans are unique types of fans. They're unique fans. Because I've never seen a contingency of fans that every year talk more shit like they just won, or like they was one game away from Super Bowl. Each year haven't done nothing. I'm gonna tell you this: the worst thing that Al Davis did, and I was in Oakland when it happened, and I said, if I were a Raider fan, that would have been the day I would have never been a fan. If you're talking about boycotting, I would have stopped being a fan, or at least I would have stopped publicizing being a fan until Al Davis went away, until he passed away. It's the day when he got rid of John Gruden. How do you let John Gruden go? Because your ego is so bad, you want to let him go because John Gruden getting more pub than him. He getting more credit for the success of the team than him. And he, with his egotistical self, couldn't take it and let John Gruden go. Let him go to Tampa Bay. They had a team that would have won the Super Bowl. They would have won a Super Bowl. They would have won that Super Bowl that year. John Gruden goes to Tampa Bay
though. Okay, Tim, we're gonna let you, we're gonna let you speak up for your team and tell everybody, what's going on, what you're doing, why you're boycotting and boycotting. And so what I want to ask you, because I wrote down this for you, why did the bottom drop out of the Raiders? Because all you Raider fans had such high hopes. I mean, you talk major mess on social media all the way up into the game. And do you think things will turn around? And if they turn around, how is it going to happen? Okay, Timothy?
All right. Michelle, Mark, when I was watching this game on Sunday, and the Raiders, you know, their defense wasn't coming around initially, and letting Andy Dalton look like Johnny Unitas or, Joe Montana. He was picking their team apart. But the Raiders were only down 10-0, and so, you're really still in the game. And it was in the second quarter. They're down 10-0, and they were in their own territory. Carr had just got injured trying to stiff arm, in my opinion, a weak stiff arm to Pac-Man's helmet, where it looked like he slapped him on the helmet and he hurt his hand. And it became 4th and 1. He fumbled the ball and it went out of bounds. The the best thing what the Raiders should have done was to punt the ball and try to pin Cincinnati back in their own territory, play some defense. Finally, the defense finally show up for some reason. They need to show up and maybe get a stop. And it's a battle of field positions. But no, the Raiders, and Jack Del Rio, first year coach of the Raiders, it's first year there. Second quarter, you're only down 10-0. He decides to go for it on 4th and 1. The game wasn't like it was 17-0 or 24-0. It was only 10-0. He decides to go for it on 4th and 1 in his own territory, and he gets stopped. Momentum killer. The Bengals come down. They score in like 6 plays. The game was over. They were up 17-0. And in my opinion, the game was over because the spirit of the team was gone. The quarterback was gone. You had a backup in there who probably didn't even think he was going to play on day one. And the defense was getting worked. Like I said, they're making Andy Dalton look like Joe Montana out there. And I just basically, was very disappointed with the play calling and the play. As everyone knows, the team hasn't been good the past few years, but, we picked up some great draft picks, some free agents, new coach. I thought they were a little bit more disciplined, but to come out and get beat like they did, Michelle, see, I could have taken a 24-20 loss. I could have taken that. But, Michelle, what was it, 33-0 before they even scored? So, you're coming out of preseason. You're coming in the first game of the season, the first game, not game 9, 10, or 11, the first game, and you show up like that. So that's why I was a little disappointed and a little upset. So I still haven't gotten over it yet.
Okay, well,
But
I just, some people may, tune in and wondering
but
all those
what
jerseys.
what what what
And wait, I want
what makes things a
to know
little bit
that you're on.
what makes it not so bad is that the Steelers and the Giants, teams like that lost. So
No,
in Chicago,
badly.
I'm all right. I'm all right. It's not that bad. The
Not
Raiders.
badly.
Hey,
I mean,
I know they got beat.
guys
I know they got beat 33. They were down 33-0. They lost like 33, 13, or 14. But the bottom line is they're 0-1, and so are the Steelers.
They got tired. Let me tell
The
you.
Raiders are 0-1, and so are the Steelers. Okay, all right.
The Clippers mentality, and you know how the Clippers, even if they're beating you, they will keep their starters in and go full throttle and just mash you in the ground. If they had that mentality, you guys would not have scored. Okay, you guys would not have scored. They backed off the gas and gave you guys a break because really, you guys shouldn't have scored. So you were lucky. You lucked out. You didn't score till the fourth quarter, late in the fourth quarter. So I don't know, Tim. I just want to let everybody know that the reason why his Laker jerseys are there is because right now he's boycotting Raiders and he's boycotting social media. So he's not going to show his face until you have a dog drinking water or something?
Yep.
Tim,
The
what can
dog.
you mute it? Oh my gosh. We got to hear your dog slurping water. So anyway, so that's why he's boycotting everything, and we can't see him. And he said that he will not show his face until the Raiders win. So I guess we'll never see Tim again. I don't know. But anyway, Tim, will they turn things around? And if they do turn things around, how are they going to do it?
Well, they just got to play smarter. Right now, I'm not positive. We came out of that game banged up. Also, you know, what's in that bid is I'm not sure what his status is for the next game, but he's been in the league 18 years. The body doesn't. He's not a 22 or 23-year-old anymore. Body doesn't heal that fast. And he might. That I'm not sure what the injury report looks like. They just had to come out. You know what? They should have been as soon as they saw the game film, and today is the first day of practice. They need to be in there for the week, with the game plan, and they need to be serious. They got another home game. I bet, I think there were some boos in the stadium as they were leaving. So, that's maybe they'll come out. We got to play Baltimore on Sunday, and they better come out with a little bit a sense of urgency, or depending on what this outcome is of this game, we know what the season where we're headed really in this season. I don't think we'll make the playoffs, but at least you got to show up and play some competitive ball. You got to show up to compete. You can't quit.
I agree.
And I felt the Raiders quit. I felt they quit after they went down 17-0.
I mean, I believe Crenshaw High School could have beat them that day.
No, not that. They wouldn't have beat them, Michelle. Maybe St. Mary's, but not Crenshaw.
St. Mary's didn't have a football team, Tim.
Well, they got some rough girls that went to St. Mary's. St. Mary's had some rough girls.
Not when I went to St. Mary's. Delicate flower.
Oh, you went to St. Mary's? Oh, I'm sorry.
You know I went to St. Mary's. Stop.
They had a tough football team. I think they beat Palisades. They shut Palisades out.
Oh, you're funny. We did have a good basketball team, though. We really did. I was on basketball and volleyball my freshman year, so yes, I am an athlete. Thank you very much.
1-15 is not a good record, Michelle. I remember the St. Mary's
Catholic
girls going 1-15.
Oh, come on now. It wasn't not on my watch. Not on my watch.
I think they beat St. Bernard's boys basketball team. I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah, right. So we're gonna move on. I don't know what happened to Mark. He was in the car, and he's probably getting out of the car into the house and setting everything up. So while he sets everything up, and then we'll bring this back to him. You know that the great Moses Malone passed away, so we definitely need to touch on that. Before I let you say what you want to say about it, I just want to say, I don't agree everything with what Charles Barkley says, but this was touching. This is his quote. He said, "The man I call Dad passed today. Words can't explain my sadness. I will never know why a Hall of Famer took a fat, lazy kid from Auburn and treated him like a son and got him in shape and made him a player. Every time I saw him, I called him Dad. I hope he knew how much I appreciated and loved him." So when Barkley was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame, he chose Malone and longtime Phoenix Suns owner, the executive Jerry Colangelo, to present him. With Malone standing on stage, Barkley raved about how the legend helped him as a young player. He said, "I always tell people the most influential people in my career is Moses, because he got me in shape and taught me how to work hard. I asked him early in my rookie career, why am I not getting to play? After I got over the fat and lazy thing, it took me a little bit to get over that. He got me into shape, and I always give him credit for that." So that was a quote by Charles Barkley, and I'm sure I read a lot, and there's tons and tons and tons of love sent out to this great man. So, Tim, I know you were a Moses Malone fan, and so I just like for you to talk about some of the special times you remember for that great man.
Well, first of all, let me go back. I know there was a girl on the page who posted that Moses Malone was the first ABA player because the NBA wasn't going to draft him out of high school. They said they wouldn't, and so he came out. Uh, I believe maybe 2 years before Dawkins was drafted. So I know she pointed out to say that Malone was the first to be drafted in the NBA, but he was actually the first to be drafted. He was the first high school player to be drafted. Period. It was
Right.
Moses Malone. You know, actually, there may be one back in the 40s, but I have to double check that. But to play in the NBA, when they had the ABA and the NBA. Back then they had the BBL. There was a high school player back in the BBL days, and that's because his dad had money.
Yeah.
But I, the problem with the ABA was the they weren't going to give it that much credit. So and the media didn't like as much like the ABA unless you had an ABA team in your market. And you remember there was an ABA team in LA. I don't know if you remember that, Michelle. They played at the sports arena.
What were they called?
LA did have. If I'm trying, and I was going to say it was the LA Express, but it's not the LA Express. But but see, remember the ABA folded after so many years, and the Lakers blocked that ABA franchise from going to the NBA because the NBA only took a few of the franchises from the ABA. The ones that they took. I know they took Indiana, they took Denver. I think they took San Antonio. There weren't. They either took 4 or 6, but they didn't take Los Angeles and they didn't take St. Louis and they took Utah. No, I don't think they took Utah. But Malone actually, was sort of a Johnny come lately. He was a great. He wasn't going to go to college. And we all knew that, and the ABA took a shot at him. They took a chance at him, and he actually stayed on the bench a couple of seasons in the ABA. And believe it or not, Michelle, he was a Buffalo Brave before they moved to San Diego. He was actually a Buffalo Brave before they moved and became the Clippers. And I believe he was traded. Thank God he was traded before he became a Clipper.
Right.
But he was relentless on the boards, and when he got in the NBA, I think what brought his talent out was the talented centers in the NBA. That's when his game, that's when he started to really play, and that's when he got his first MVP. When he came into the league, I believe he came. The merger was like in '75 or '76, and I remember that because there were no more basketball games at the sports arena. Like I said, the Lakers didn't want at that time the Lakers didn't want another NBA team in Los Angeles. But to get back to Malone, like I said, I tell people, I had that, Malone and Magic's second year after the Lakers had won the championship. And they had the 3-game series against Houston, and that's when Magic threw up that air ball. He was trying to get it over Malone, and he missed.
Right.
And that was a famous air ball, and that was because Malone was there for the defense. And of course, Houston went on and lost. They went on and lost to Boston. And I think in the following year, '82, the Lakers dominated them so bad. The Lakers dominated the Sixers so bad. That's how they traded for Houston, and they basically Malone was going to walk, but that was like one of the first free agent deals where Michelle, that was one of the first free agent deals where uh, he signed with his old team and then they traded him. So he went to Philadelphia, and of course, the rest is history. They beat the Lakers, but that was his only championship. One of the problems was, with Malone, he was a great player. It was just that they couldn't surround him with great talent. That team with Barkley, Malone, and the team with Barkley, Malone, and Dr. J. They should have went back to back, but sometimes teams and that was Dr. J's only championship. That was Malone's only championship. Barkley wasn't on that team. He had got drafted
Right.
after they won a championship. They should have won another championship, but Boston beat them. They got complacent, and Dr. J never really went, or Malone never went on from there, other than gathering a lot of rebounds and a couple more MVP titles. But after that, it was basically that was it. They rested. They got to a pinnacle, and then they thought that was it. And like I said, none of them ever won another championship. Barkley never won one. Malone never won another one. Dr. J never won another one. But I always, everyone love, for guys who like to bang down low and, playing street basketball or even pickup basketball, a lot of guys will tell you they learned that from Moses Malone. He was relentless. He loved to bang, and he would battle you on the boards. And when you see people like that, back and forth on the boards, that reminds you of, in my opinion, of Malone. I had an opportunity to see him play one time. It was 1990. The Lakers were at Atlanta. This was like during like the twilight of his career, but it was him and Dominique Wilkins that led the Lakers in points. Not the Lakers, but the Hawks. Uh, but the Lakers won that game. Doc Rivers was on that team, but he was injured. But I'm glad I had a chance to see him play in person because you always want to see the great ones play. You always want to see them at no matter where you're at, just to say that you saw them. And like I said, I had that opportunity to see Malone in 1990. Of course, this is 7 years after he won a title, but it was still Malone. I think he scored. Him and Dominique led, like I said, the Hawks in scoring. So, it's just sad, and I did right that we lost the first ABA player from high school drafted, and we lost the first NBA player. Uh, we lost the first NBA player, and within a month.
Mm.
So yeah, so the league, Michelle. If I'm trying to think, because see, the league would not. The league, the ABA was about to fold. They only had six teams, and you can't play. You know what I mean? You can't play a league with six teams. So a lot of people knew that
Is that when
say again.
basketball? Is that when basketball was about to fold?
The ABA, not the NBA. The NBA was never going to fold. The NBA has always been strong.
Okay.
Uh, the ABA was going to fold, and they went down to six franchises, and that's all they had left. Uh, but I have to find it because it's one of the smartest moves ever made. I have
Well,
to find it for you.
not really fold, but I remember a time when they were saying that the NBA, a lot of people weren't watching and everything. As far as a matter of fact, Bus was instrumental in helping to get people listening again. I'm not sure how to answer that, but
Well, actually,
to the
the
phone thing.
NBA was never really in what trouble that people think it was. you know, television didn't like it, but people still showed up to watch them play.
Right, right.
What you talk, they wouldn't put them on prime time. They were never the Lakers all the time. The Lakers road games were always on television. It was at that time where which is smart. You didn't have local cable television, or the games weren't on. The home games weren't on TV for a reason. If you wanted to see them play, you had to go out to the Forum and watch them play. And so, but every time the Lakers went on the road, their games were televised, and so we saw more road games, and we either listened to them on radio, or you went to a game. I don't recall going to a game until I was like in high school at the Forum, before Magic Johnson. I don't think the NBA was ever in any kind of serious trouble. It's just that you know it just wasn't a popular sport until Matt. People say that, but see, even before, even but they always televise the finals, Michelle, because I can remember watching the finals in regular time. Even as far back as Boston and Phoenix, and that's in the early '70s, and then of course, Portland and Philadelphia. That was prime time, because I can remember sitting in my room at home watching that at like 8 o'clock at night. They played the games for prime time.
Hold on.
So
I have Mark right here. Mark, what's going on?
And for whatever reason, even when you call, it says you cannot join the call. I don't know what it is. I got a call that threw me off, and it was kind of an emergency for people. Then I called them back, and it was okay. I thought it might have been an emergency. He doesn't know if he called me or something. But and I got off there, but for whatever reason, it won't let me get back on. I don't know whether you can.
Did you go onto the homepage, onto the Google Hangout?
The whole thing. Either way, it says I cannot join. I tried to join back in. It says you're not allowed to join the call or something like that.
Okay. All right. And for our viewers, we are trying to get this Google Hangout thing together. We are coming from Blog Talk Radio, so we're just kind of learning as we go. Let's see. I'm trying to see right here. Check the box, ring, incoming. Okay, I'm trying to see, because we hear you. Can't you hear him? Can't you hear the phone ringing, Tim, when it rings?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, we hear it ringing, but it does, like it says, accept the call. If you accept the Hangout window, if you accept a Hangout window will open and you can talk to the person calling you.
Right.
But there's nothing opening.
Yeah, but see, when I try to call, like I tried to call before, or like I tried to call back toward the group and go back to where it shows that you're in a call.
Mm-hmm.
Then I hit that, and then it does a little permission thing. I agree to terms. I hit that, it goes on. Then 2 seconds later, it says you're not allowed to join the call. And then when I said call me, you called me, and because I accepted it, it's the same thing. It's the agreed to terms. 2 seconds later, I'm not allowed to join the call.
That's weird. I don't know. I mean, I'm going to have to call Google Hangouts and ask them. Okay, default sound. I'm going to have to ask them when the phone rings, how do you answer it? There's nothing here that says you're getting a call. I mean, I can't, I can't.
When you see my call, either when I tried to call, at least I tried to call the group. The couple times I called, I just called you. I don't think Tim was here. I just called you.
No, but you called the group too because it was ringing.
Okay. And then you didn't accept, what would it do?
It just stopped ringing. It just stopped ringing. So I'm not sure what's going on.
And at that point, it's saying I'm not allowed to join the call.
Okay, I'm gonna have to figure it out. I'm gonna have to call them or something and figure it out, because we definitely can hear the phone ringing when you call. But there's there's no little phone hit, nothing like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to look through settings and see maybe that I want to fix it. If I did something to eliminate myself to do that or whatever the case may be, I don't know what I could have done. I was going to do that, so.
Okay, well check it out, and I'll invite you again, and we'll see what happens.
All right.
Okay, bye bye.
I'm trying.
I know.
Okay.
I mean, maybe we could stop this hangout and start another one. I don't know.
I was going to look at another thing being an option, so.
Huh?
All right. That was only for the option I was thinking we may have left.
Yeah, stop this one and then start it up again. Okay. All right. Bye bye.
Yeah, Michelle, the LA team was the Los Angeles Stars.
Oh, okay.
But then they moved. Then they were Anaheim at first. They were the Anaheim there for 1 year. Then they moved to the Sports Arena. They were there for 2 years, and no one really wanted to watch them because the Lakers were there. Even the Lakers hadn't even won a championship yet, but the Lakers, and then they moved to Utah, and they folded. Now, when there are 11 teams that started. See, they were trying to compete with the NBA, but they really couldn't, and nobody really wanted to see them. Nobody, they had good players like Dr. J, Artist Gilmore. They had the red and white blue ball. They had the afro.
Yeah.
But the NBA broke them, and what they actually did was when the team, Michelle, how you could play, you could tell when the team was down, when the league was down to 6 teams, it wasn't going anywhere.
Right.
And they finally were able to merge. The NBA took four teams. Now, Michelle, when people were saying the NBA they would have never absorbed those teams if they didn't think they were good or they had financial problems of their own.
That's
So
true.
they took 4 teams. They took Denver Nuggets. They took the San Antonio Spurs. They took the Indiana Pacers. And they took the New York Nets, which then moved to East Rutherford and changed the name to the New Jersey Nets. So those
Okay,
are all.
I'm gonna stop you there so we could restart this over and then get Mark back on because he's trying to. I don't know why he can't get back on. That's something I need to write a note on that.
Did you hear him calling?
Left and couldn't.
Did you hear him calling?
Yeah, but it says for some reason he can't come on. And then phone ringing. Where to answer? Don't want ring. Okay, so we're going to go out of this hangout and then we're going to come back so that we can bring Mark back in and then we will resume. Okay, so I'm going to call you back in a second, Tim. You hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll call you right back.